Tasty, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, man. What's your question?
Now, we know that the Titans said they banished each of the four primal forces to planes, correct?
Yeah.
So we can look at that they imprisoned them.
Yeah, we know they imprisoned them. So basically, just to give you a bit of a rundown, when the Titans arrived on Azeroth, the old gods had already driven the elemental lords to absolute nuts. Like the old gods. So the way the lore reads, it's kind of like the lack of spirit already threw the elemental lords into, or the elemental forces into sort of flux. And then the old gods came and made it a million times worse. Because now suddenly the old gods were sort of enlisting the elements in their wars. And the problem, as someone in chat mentioned earlier as well, the problem was that because the elements and the elemental lords are of Azeroth, they can actually not be killed. So Azeroth is sort of like their twisting nether for the demons. Every single time you kill one of the elemental lords, they will simply be reborn because they're of Azeroth. They don't actually die, or at least killing them is very, very difficult. And so they had to tie them into elemental planes. But that tying into the elemental planes is actually, it's more than just imprisoning them. By tying them to their own elemental planes, which the Titan Keepers built, it also made it possible to kill them. So very similar to if you want to kill a demon, you have to kill it inside the Twisting Nether. By removing the tie from Azeroth to the elemental plane, if you kill the elemental lord now within its elemental plane, it does die because it isn't tied to Azeroth anymore, it is tied to its elemental plane. So it's sort of like a prison, but also the ability to now defeat it should needs be. But then, of course, they locked them inside these elemental planes and basically just left them there, so to speak. But yeah, that's just a quick rundown for anyone that might have wondered. Continue, Danfire.
What if Azeroth didn't absorb spirit, but spirit being like the intellectual part of the primal forces, they locked them to the Shadowlands. We know the Shadowlands aren't the way they originally were. What if they use spirit to work through the Shadowlands, therefore taking the intelligence out of the primals? So the primal plane of spirit is actually the Shadowlands.
I mean, I think you're right, but in a sort of adjacent kind of way. Because you just said something that kind of made my previous theory even more plausible. So what is spirit? Spirit would be considered life, right? Like at least close to life. If you were to talk about primal magic, spirit would be soul. If we talk about religion, for example,
non-material life.
Well, yeah, but if you look at religion, for example, spirit is the soul. The Holy Spirit is the soul part of the Trinity. Spirit is soul. Spirit is something that is required for life to exist. Now, what happens when the gift of flesh is bestowed upon the Titan Keepers? They are filled with anima. Right? The Titan Keepers, the normal Titan Keepers, do not possess anima because they don't have souls. There's no reason for anima. But as soon as the gift of flesh is bestowed upon us, we suddenly have this ability to create anima. Anima could be seen as spirit. No? Wouldn't anima be the closest thing to spirit that we have? Like the closest example, at least, of spirit would be anima. So the fact that the old gods have this innate ability to grant spirit or souls to beings would suggest that perhaps they are spirit. Perhaps that's exactly what spirit is, and you know where spirit went. Just as an example, for your theory that the Shadowlands is where the realms of spirit is, I'm not sure, because there's no real evidence that the Shadowlands. The reason being, if the Shadowlands truly was where spirit congregated or where spirit was, the Shadowlands wouldn't have this immense need for anima. Because all you had to do was tap into the realms of spirit and you would have all the power that you could possibly need. The fact that they need this anima suggests that spirit isn't present, so to speak, at least not there. And at least that's my theory. I'm not sure if you have a different take on it.
Well, if you go by the religion, spirit is the intelligence / personality you've developed while you were living on the mortal plane. So we know that Ardenweald is the main place we drop off anima throughout the Shadowlands.
Well,
and it's the one place that you can send back a spirit / personality, like Ishara, like Ursulok, if they didn't drain him. So I'm saying the spirit's there, but the Titans don't have total control over it, but they can add more spirit from the anima coming in. It's like the spirit blood / go-go juice. And that's how they're maintaining / modifying it. They don't have total control of it, but they're using the power of the mortals dying to manipulate and do the best they can with a system that they didn't totally create.
Yeah. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't quite see like the threads within the lore to back it up, right? Because it's fine as a theory since we don't actually know where spirit is, so we could effectively create anywhere for spirit to be. The issue is why the Shadowlands, because that's the fundamental question that I'm going to ask. Why choose the Shadowlands as the location for spirit? Like, what is that based on? Outside of just, it makes logical sense or whatever. I want to know, is there any part of the lore that suggests that spirit might be in the Shadowlands?
I don't see any lore itself, but then again, if you think about it, if spirit was consumed, the system would have to collapse because you need all 5 of the primal magics to create the higher magics.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Because if the higher magics, instead of pulling from 5, instead just pulled from 4, they would still be able to exist. All they would have to do is ensure that the one other would always remain on the outside, which is kind of what they've done with the Void, right? The Void is the one that doesn't make sense. I made this video a while ago already. Out of all of the cosmological forces, the Void does not make sense. It just doesn't fit. All of the others seemingly have a place, a space, a reason for existing, except for the Void. Because what's the purpose of the Void? What does the Void actually do? It literally just wishes to consume. It also doesn't seem to really serve a purpose in the grand scheme of things. other than it wants to consume everything. It wants to bring about the end of everything. It makes it doesn't even necessarily seem to care about its own existence outside of wanting to consume everything. So
Well,
it's the one that doesn't make sense.
if you look at it from the prospect of Void being like the Nathrezim, what if the Void is our? If you look at it, they are our Nathrezim. They are from Azeroth. They are working against the outside uh, meddlings of the cosmological forces. That's why they consume all. What do they consume all of? They consume all of the influences of the cosmological forces.
Yeah, but again, your theory is just going to be countered based on what in the lore. This is why the Void is such an interesting topic, but also such a frustrating one. Because everything we talk about, we can kind of link together if we accept a number of things to be true beforehand. So basically, we lay the groundwork for the theory, like you just did there. If we accept that the Void is the Nathrezim, or like the Nathrezim, well, then, yeah, sure. But there's never been any evidence that the Void is like the Nathrezim, or even closely related to Azeroth. In any way, shape, or form, outside of, what we think may be the truth. So I don't know. Is the only answer I can really give you, Tasty, is that I genuinely don't know. And I wish I did, because the Void is by far, if you look on my channel, I don't think any other element of World of Warcraft has sparked more speculation theories than the Void. I have literally hundreds of theories about the Void. Literally hundreds of them. I don't think I've ever gone a month without at least one Void theory or some kind of old god theory. So I'm very excited and interested in the old gods in the Void. But also frustrated because none of it can be proven. We don't really know what they are or what they aren't. And the only way we can speculate about them is by sort of arbitrarily accepting certain premises and then building the theory off of the premises that has been widely accepted by all of us, at least those who want to. And then, of course, you always get people in the comment section that go, well, I reject your premise, so your entire theory is wrong. So, well, yeah, okay, cool. That was kind of the point of the theory. Everyone had to agree on the fucking premise in the first place. But, okay, never mind. We'll start again. So yeah, it's always interesting. It's always changing. As it were. Tasty, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
No, other than I love saying what if. Have a good one, boss.
Peace out, bro. Take care of yourself, man.